County Public Library Board of Trustees regular meeting for December 20, 2023. We are going to roll call just so everybody can acknowledge that they're here. Roger, you
Yes.
started. Tanya, I'm here.
Jessica's here.
Diana, Becky here.
All right. We've got a flag this month, so we will actually do our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Well, I know there's going to be a couple of requested amendments to the agenda, so let's go over those. Jessica, you had a concern you shared with me about you'd like to take the Garden City lease to closed session.
Yes.
Let's deal with that one first. Make the motion
Okay.
of what you
I'd
want
like
to
to
do.
make a motion to move the discussion of the Garden City lease to closed session, as I think that those are things that are, the lease will then eventually be out in the public after we decide on it, but I believe that that should have been in a closed session meeting.
Which to
You
be
can go either way.
Yeah, you can.
Which I'm aware
officially.
of that, but
You-
spending 17 years in real estate, when you're discussing this type of stuff before the contract's signed, it's more of something that should be discussed, not among everyone on the planet.
Gotcha. Okay, so there's a motion and a second on the table to amend the agenda to move Garden City lease to when we recess to executive session for real estate. Any other discussion on it before we take a vote? Roger?
Yes.
Tanya, yes. Jessica?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Okay. The second requested amendment I want to make is a motion to add to our new business. I don't know how to put it. Basically, to approve, we all received a copy of an estimate when we got here to repair the stair treads that have been, I don't know, in a bad way for at least the last 6 months or so. We want to go ahead and get that taken care of. And so I'd like to amend the agenda to add this estimate discussion and a potential vote to make those repairs after it'll be number 3 under new business. I guess it would actually become number 2.
Number 2. Okay. I'll second that.
Anyone with any other thoughts or questions want to discuss that any further? Okay. Roger?
Yes.
Tanya, yes. Jessica?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have made amendments to the agenda. Now I think I probably need to get a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right, we've got the agenda taken care of. Consent agenda, were there any, this is the approval of the minutes, any questions there? Anything on the financial reports? If not, I will obviously entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I will make the motion to approve the consent agenda as it stands.
I will second it.
Okay, we'll roll call, approve the consent agenda. Roger?
Yes.
Tanya, yes. Jessica?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Okay, let's moving on. Public comment. We have one, Miss Jennifer Reed. Thank you for coming.
I have refrained from speaking for well over a year now because of the optics with the issues between CCHS and this board. But today I'm speaking not as a CCHS employee or as a CCPL employee. I am speaking as the friend of someone who you three treated very appallingly. This board is in a position of looking for a new executive director because of the antics of the three, Long, Lesson, and Larson, and your boss over at the commissioner's office. From the moment Dan stood up for the freedom of access to information for the people of this county, he had a target on his back. The amount of opposition, ignorance, and incompetence that he had to put up with for the past few years from you three and the moms for liberty lackeys you have brought into this would wear anybody down. The final slap in the face was not accepting the full voter approved tax levy that he had worked so hard to see across the finish line. Oh wait, no, that's not the final slap. That was Levson asking Dan at his last board meeting what the board should look for in a new director. Dan was a class act throughout all of this, and he deserved better than what you three did to him. As morale throughout the library system started to tank from lack of support from the majority of this board, Dan did his best to share a positive outlook with the library's future. With a new branch built in Pleasant Hill, to the new bookmobile, to improvements in technology and system-wide. But keeping a brave smile and positive outlook can only go so far under persistent attack by the majority of this board. The constant stress and anxiety you three and your boss caused began to take its toll. Before you could totally break him or fire him and leave him without a job, he took control of his own fate and found a library system that saw his value, that respected and valued his opinion and trusted his knowledge and experience. In a way, I hope you three get exactly what you want and deserve in the next director. A completely unqualified and incompetent person that you clearly must micromanage to do your highly partisan Moms for Liberty driven agenda. It will cripple this library system, but that is also exactly what you have been working towards since you were installed. Why do you guys want to bring down the library system, some might ask? It's all about control. If these three can restrict access to information for the citizens of Cass County, they will see that as a win. They want to eliminate this access altogether. Why? Because it's easier to control an ignorant, uninformed electorate than a well-read, educated one.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to unfinished business. At last month's meeting, we were presented with some potential bylaw amendments. I had Robin put them all in just in the order that we received them last month as well. I wanted to stress that at last month's meeting, A, B, C, D, and F, there was no issue or discussion. I wasn't sure if anything had changed there. If not, I thought perhaps would we want to go ahead and make a motion to approve those 5 amendments? Or was there anything, I don't want to stop any kind of discussion, but there was nothing about it in last month's meeting that anybody had any concerns with. On those, again, it was A, B, C, D, and F. Any thoughts there from anybody?
So you're leaving out E and G as our problem.
Those were the 2
Okay.
last month that we had some discussion on.
Okay. I would make a motion to go ahead and approve A, B, C, D, and F then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll second that motion. Any other thoughts before we take a vote? Like, this would be really the best time for us to have any kind of discussion about it.
My own opinion is these didn't really have to occur, these amendments. They didn't really have to occur. We've spent over $1,000 in lawyers' fees getting this 5-page document updated, or close to $1,000.
That was something that Dan had asked the lawyer to review our bylaws, and so this is a result of that.
Okay, well, I would say it whether he was here or not. So there.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's where it came from.
Yeah,
in
it
the
kind of
past,
there.
in the past, everything that, like Section 2, the closed meetings, Both of those were things that we always took to closed meetings, such as the personal information about an employee is discussed or recorded. Maybe the video is new. The definitions of meetings, we've now included every type of meeting that we could use, and that can be helpful in counting our attendance. I still, on item D, I would rather hear during August than,
Well, that's a requirement by law anyway. I mean, it has to be done by August 31st.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just my comments.
Okay, well, look, I mean, I don't think that, I
You
mean,
can go ahead and vote it that way.
the recommendations that Lauber brought just said they were some revisions that they would recommend for clarity and efficiency. We can ignore them all, obviously. I didn't notice that anybody last month, we didn't have any discussion about those particular ones, so I didn't know that there were any aversions to it.
I mean, I'm going to vote for them, but we've spent a lot of, anyway, that's just my opinion. We need to start watching these lawyer fees.
Any other discussion?
Maybe we should have talked when we were approving the consent agenda, if spending an abnormal amount of money on lawyers, maybe that's something we should look into. That's how much money we're spending on lawyers. We have some problems going on that we've talked about in executive sessions that cost us lawyer fees, but I don't know what a good amount of money for lawyers is. Are we overspending for lawyers? Are we underspending? I don't know.
I will say that, I mean, one of the things that I have appreciated is in having them, and we have spent some money up front, but they've kind of helped us see where we were errantly running our meetings as well. I mean, even tonight, we're gonna, I mean, once we get done with our regular meeting, we're not gonna close the meeting as we always did and then go to executive and stay here. Like, per the law, we're actually supposed to do that in a different manner, and we're going to start doing that. So, although I do agree that it's never a fun thing to spend money on those things, I think that they're helping us try to be in a good direction with respect to making sure we're following the law. And then they came and gave some clarification on the sunshine. And again, like I said, Dan had requested that they look at our bylaws, and I agree. I thought there's nothing wrong with it. We don't have to move on any of it,
Call
but
for a vote.
okay. So the motion and the second was to approve number 1, A, B, C, D, and F. I'm going to take a roll call vote. Roger?
Yes.
Tanya, yes. Jessica?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Okay. E and G, is there any desire to have any discussion about those this evening? Is there any desire to make a motion to approve anything on those this evening?
Well, I'd like to talk about D again.
Which one? Not one we just approved.
Or G, I mean.
G, okay,
G, I mean,
okay.
sorry. I'm sorry. G.
Okay, G,
I
yes.
misspoke. I really don't. It looks like we're looking for a solution to a problem that didn't exist. I've been on the board a long time. I don't remember anything that we ever put on the bylaws that we need to put on the bylaws immediately, or even for a short period, within a short period of time. And this particular bylaws, I think, have been around ever since I've been around. And we've never had any problems with it that I know of. And so I don't know why we need to change it. It's working. I don't see any problems with it. And so, if something's working, why change it? I guess was my opinion. And I really don't know why. Sometimes our bylaws are kind of like our Constitution here. And it takes a lot to change the Constitution, and it should take more than it takes to change the bylaws than it does to just make a motion and say, go with it. pass it or whatever. And the way this thing is written is, to me, still kind of screwy, because it talks about, I think it's 2/3 or something like that.
Mhm.
And we're talking about a number that's not really divisible by 5 easily. And basically what it does is block out one voter, which, one member of the board, to get things passed. And they can do that anyway with the old one. It just takes another month to do it.
Right.
And there's really no reason I don't really see any reason to make that change.
Okay.
It just gives you another month to think about it, and nothing that we've ever put on the bylaws is that pressing that you can't wait 2 or 3 months to get them on there.
Any other thoughts on that? Like, doesn't matter to me one way or
I
the
mean, I
other.
just know that there's a reason why we did bring it up, and it was kind of just efficiency. Like, it
Right.
took us months and months just to get the pledge approved, and so it's not that there wasn't something. I mean, and they explained that, and this is that, you know, they felt like it was more efficient, and really you're just putting things off for another month when they could be done. And yes, I do understand the whole Constitution, and that it is like our Constitution. And so, I mean, I'd be okay with just, you know, not voting on this tonight and giving us till next month, and we can kind of all digest it and then maybe bring it back up in January and discuss it again. That way we don't have to drag out this meeting, and we can, you know, it's not super important to handle it right now. So I'd be okay with waiting if you guys were.
Diana, Becky, thoughts?
It's fine. But right now, it takes 3 meetings. With this change, it takes 2 meetings, so it's really not a big of a
Yeah.
deal. Yeah. I mean, I could go either way.
So we have time to think then.
Becky?
Well, this new way, it'll only take 1 meeting.
No, it's gonna take 2.
Well, at the discussion that we had last month, there was discussion to
amend it, wasn't there?
basically, rather than do it exactly as the way that it was written by the lawyer, the thought was, no, don't take out the part where it says prior to the meeting, but it would still have to say at the previous board meeting.
From
So-
the previous board meeting to just a prior meeting.
Right, take that out, leave it, okay, let me start over. Leaving, so when you read section 1, these bylaws may be amended by, the potential change was 2/3 of the board members present at a regular meeting of the board when a quorum is present, provided the board has been presented a written copy of the proposed bylaws. Their suggestion was at a prior meeting. We discussed last month at leaving it at a previous board meeting, meaning it would require 2 months. One, it would be presented at a meeting we could discuss, then it could be voted on. The way that it is right now, you're presented at a board meeting, you can discuss it, you can't vote on it until the next month, and if it's not unanimous, then you wait until the following month to get a majority vote or not. I mean, you know, does that make sense? So that's what I had in my notes that we had discussed, was taking out, not adding their wording of prior to the meeting, but leaving the wording the way our bylaws currently say, which is at a previous board meeting. So it would require 2 meetings. Does that make sense, Becky?
Yeah.
Okay. So it isn't, you can't do it all in a month.
So if we were voting today, which one were we voting on? At the previous board meeting?
Well, I had her just present it as it was because we never came to any conclusions
Okay.
last month. So I didn't want to presume that
Okay.
we had discussed or decided anything. So what would, if somebody wants to do something, it would be, they would have to make clear what their motion was, is how I left it for us to have that ability.
Well,
Just
table
it?
If you wanna wait till January and discuss it again, that's fine with me, but, I would at this time move that we, take G off of our, and table G, because it's really It's really just trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. And so I think what we already had in our bylaws is probably better than what we're being told to do with, as far as G is concerned.
I
second it.
I think we're good to table that. Then there is E. Is there any desire to discuss that? Obviously, we talked about this last month, and we kind of got Lori's thoughts on it as well, where I don't think it would be beneficial to Lori, who's in that role currently, to move it beyond November 30th if we did anything. So I think for me, the best news I heard when all this was coming about is that we're not required by law to present 3 readings of the budget. So that means we don't have to start discussing budget in September.
Did you skip over back to E? Is that what?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay,
went back
I'm
to
sorry.
Sorry.
My motion on the floor is for G.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, we're just tabling it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've all agreed we'll table it.
Okay.
Sorry, I can do an official vote if you'd like to do that. Would that be
For what?
I mean, he did make a motion to table it and Becky did second that. I don't want to ignore that. So we'll take a vote to table G. Roger?
Yes.
Tanya, yes. Jessica?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Roger.
Well, it's okay. I was confused there a second.
I can understand. I'm sorry. So yes, on E, is there any, I mean, the way that the potential change was to just prior to the end of the year. I don't think any of us liked that one.
No, I mean, if we want to go into it, I think we should keep our, the end of November should be the verbiage. Did she have that? And then taking it down to 2 meetings are presented twice instead of 3 times. Like, I'm good with that. I mean, if everybody else is good with that, I don't think that's a bad change.
I don't think there was anything even suggesting
not
that it
even
could
in
present.
here.
Yeah, the presenting of it is not, I don't know where that came from.
Okay.
I have no idea. When I came on the board, that's what was being done.
Yeah.
I thought it was a law. I never
Yeah.
looked it up, but
Yeah.
it's just something the board has done.
Right.
I was just glad to hear that wasn't a law
Right.
or something required.
Right.
And so really the only discussion is if we want to take out the verbiage of at the November meeting and either changing it to potentially by November 30th, meaning if at that meeting we can't figure it out, it still has to be done by November
It just
30th.
gives us a little grace.
Mm-hmm.
Gives a
We
little
try to have
grace.
it done by Thanksgiving. I mean,
Or
not
by that
Thanksgiving,
November
by
meeting.
yeah.
So that's the only thing that's doing.
Yeah.
And again, like, I don't think that they came back and said any of our bylaws were like just terrible.
Mhm.
They're just, the comment is suggestion of removal for flexibility. So it's not as rigid.
So we're wanting to replace at its November meeting with by the end of November. And not put prior to the end of the then current fiscal year, which is,
Right.
yeah.
Leave that out.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're adding in then the prior to the end of the
No.
current fiscal year.
We would
No,
not take
we
that.
don't want
We
that.
didn't like their suggestion there. The only thing we were contemplating is changing this part here, saying the board
Okay.
shall adopt and approve by the end of November
Okay.
an annual budget for the ensuing fiscal year.
Okay.
That's what we discussed last month. Again, nothing was agreed upon per se. We just had discussion last month. So I did not have any changes made to what was presented last month. Is there any desire to move forward with anything on E?
I say we make a motion and be done with it. I mean, if we're done discussing it.
We don't have to. So if you actually read Robert's rules, you really do actually make motions
I
and
mean-
seconds before you discuss. We
Oh,
kind of
Okay.
do that a little bit
Okay.
backwards. So we can still discuss even if a motion is made and a second is made. That's actually where discussion
But
is.
we don't have a motion on this at all
We do
right
not.
now.
So can I make,
just-
I'll make a motion. Okay, so I make a motion that we remove at its November meeting and replace it with by the end of November.
I'm writing this
Right.
down. And we already all know we're not adding we're not
Correct,
changing
yeah.
anything of what they put.
Uh,
So that's in part E. The wording would be by the end of November.
and that blue part that we
That
have on
is-
here is
yeah.
out.
That is the motion that's on the table.
Hmm.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion, any more thoughts on that? We'll take a roll call vote then. Roger?
Yes.
Tanya, yes. Jessica?
Yeah.
Diana?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's. Excuse me for just 1 second as I write these things down. So did you get how we worded that
Yes.
for okay, well, I'm sorry, it just isn't worded like that in the actual agenda, so. All right, under new business, CCIC operational rent payment modification. Is there any, so the amount that was put in the packet is for $8,772.93 a month. That excludes the building replacement fund and building maintenance recovery fund, which basically just continues what the board approved of doing in May of last year. Is there any questions, comments?
I would like to make a motion to approve the payment of $8,772.93 for the year of 2024.
I will second that. Any questions, comments before we take a vote? Any more discussion? Yes, Becky?
So you're taking the 118,955
Yes, those are the operational costs. Now, I
and
didn't,
dividing it by 12?
well, no, I'm taking it and multiplying it by our,
Oh,
Occupancy.
88.5.
and
Yeah.
then it multiplied by 12, and that's what it came up to. You did the same math, right? And it came up to the same. Like I didn't mess with, like, we're paying for our own trash, but that's still included in the overall operational costs. I mean, we didn't do anything with that. It's just that figure right here of the 118,955. This is on the, yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Just go ahead.
yeah. So that's the motion and the second. Was there anything else?
I just, we've got to get the dialogue going again between these organizations and get this settled. And I understand why we did it in 2023, but I'm of the opinion we make a good faith effort and pay our rent. And that's just my opinion right now.
Okay.
And we've got to stop this disagreement between these 2-3 organizations or whatever and figure this out. And that's it.
And I just want to make it clear that I believe we are paying exactly what we should be paying according to our 1984
Agreement.
That those are added things that we're being compelled to pay that we shouldn't be paying. So, especially when we can't get things repaired and we're paying for them.
Any more discussion? Okay, the motion on the table is to approve the modification for the CCIC operational rent payment, which would be $8,772.93. Roger,
Yes,
Tanya, yes. Jessica,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Becky.
No.
Okay, moving on to number 2 now, which is the stairs. Um, so, I got confirmation from Robin. It was in the 1st of June when Karen let Van, who is the maintenance guy for CCIC, know that there was an issue with the stair treads. At the October CCIC meeting, they determined that yes, they will fix it, but there was no bid or anything that they approved. I reached out to the president of the CCIC on Friday just to find out what's going on there, like uh, where do things stand, how quickly, because it's been 2 months since they had said they were going to do that, and basically, what was the response was that they're continuing to work on needed repairs to the building and should be circulating bids to the trustees in the near future to get this work going after the first of the year. So I spoke with the lawyer. I think most of us would agree that there's kind of a danger in the stairs not being repaired and so I just think just to do the right thing, we need to repair the stairs.
Well,
and
he said,
they said take care of it.
take care of it.
And yeah, do it, take care of it.
And we'll deal with whatever after.
Before the CCIC meeting in October, Dan got a quote for the repair so that Jessica could take it to the meeting to offer it. I had Jessica reach out to that company. It's Hometown Flooring. This is the estimate that we all have. The estimate is still good, and depending on how long it takes to get the actual supplies, they can do this job first of the year.
Yeah, in January.
So basically, what I would like to do is agree to this estimate and get these repairs taken care of. Like my motion would be to accept the estimate from Hometown Flooring for $7,005.60 to repair the stairs at the Harrisonville branch.
And I second that.
Will this get refunded from?
I don't know.
That would be the hope.
I don't know.
I mean,
I think we're kind of, past 6 months of, it's hard to watch someone who struggles going down the stairs having to, remove switch sides and do different things. It's just the right thing to do.
We need to do that. I mean,
Well,
that's just all that.
I don't know I can't tell you if we will.
We will be asking for the money
Yeah.
to be recouped as far as that goes, in some way, shape, or form. I mean, that's why we spoke to our council about it. And, at the end of the day, this is a drop in the bucket versus somebody getting hurt. So we don't want that to happen, and I think we need to just go ahead and take care of it.
Yeah.
Deal with whatever comes out of it.
did you ask for several bids on this, or was this?
We did not,
They had
They
another, the CCIC had another bid in hand,
but it
an
was
old
from
one,
it was
but
from
I
a long
think it
time
was
ago.
actually for more.
I
believe it was.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I believe it was for more because then the president of CCIC suggested that they go back to them and ask them again for another bid. That was, I think, a place in Blue Springs.
I was thinking this was the place maybe.
I'm just asking,
Yeah.
because I've never had a step repaired in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And if,
This sounds like an awful lot of money just to repair that little spot on
well,
the
and
step.
No,
that's
they're gonna do all of them.
the problem,
We'll
like
get
when
all new
Dan,
treads.
so when Dan contacted
All new ones.
them,
They'll all match, they'll all be
Yeah.
pretty and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
When-
not
Okay,
just one,
fair.
that's every single one of them.
yeah, sorry, when
So-
Dan, was it Dan?
I
think it
think
was Dan.
$7,000 for this little.
Nope. It's all
Yeah.
of them.
When Dan contacted them, the way they explained estimated is that you know, you're not gonna replace just one tread, you're gonna do all of them, and they're
Okay.
gonna stay uniform
Yeah.
Okay,
down. So that's
good.
for all of the
Yeah.
tread.
Okay, that's more understanding.
There's 25 right there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
Could we specify that they try to do it maybe like on a Martin Luther King Day or a President's Day or some day when the library is closed? Could we work on that schedule
I think
possible?
we can talk to them about it, yeah.
That would be cool. I mean, especially what, January 15th is Martin Luther King.
Because if they're open that day and working.
Yeah.
If they're working.
We'll see. I mean, I think what I'll have you do is give Robin the contact information if you're good with that, and then have them, you guys,
Well,
yes,
Zach will
obviously work that.
handle a lot of that
Okay.
scheduling and,
Yeah, I can handle that. I put in notes to look about doing on those kind of days. I'll also say just in comment that is the same company we had completely recarpet Garden City, the children's section. Every time we've used them, I've had zero issues.
Yeah. And that's why Dan contacted them. Like I mean, I think they've worked very well with the library and have been very fair and take good care.
And I think we should support local businesses as much as we possibly can too.
Okay, so is there any other, I'm sorry, is there any other questions, comments, discussion about this before we actually take a vote? Any other thoughts, Roger? Becky, Diana? Okay, I'm gonna take the vote. Roger?
yes.
Tanya, yes. Jessica?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Becky?
yes.
Okay. Robin,
Yes.
you're up to bat.
Oh, yay.
We're gonna just, first of all, I wanna say thank you for what you've been doing so far. Appreciate it.
Sure.
And, thank you for being here.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll start with staff changes.
Okay.
And so since last month, last month, Kim Croft, who was a bookmobile driver, she had gotten the youth specialist bookmobile position, which left open her driver position. So we actually hired Taylor Bates from NRC. And so then we had to hire for Taylor's job at NRC, and she was a 20-hour library assistant there. And so we actually hired Israel Gully, who was a 12-hour at NRC. He got the 20-hour. Then we had to fill the 12-hour at NRC. And Achla Tawari, who was a 20-hour at Pleasant Hill, but had previously been a sub at NRC. She's going back to NRC to fill that 12-hour role.
Okay.
So all that to say, we have a 20-hour at Pleasant Hill open now. And then, of course, the library director
Chain
position.
reaction.
Right. Yes.
It's the domino.
But it all
That's
worked out
cool.
Yeah.
That's
nicely,
As long
I
as
think.
everybody's happy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So, and then I know that you noted in the packet that the bookmobile's been down.
Yes.
There's a couple of reasons for that. I don't know that it's been talked about before. So just to kind of inform you, we had two separate issues with it. One of which was a warranty thing regarding the generator. So basically like a little screw or a bolt got loose in it and then just kind of grinded up in it. But luckily that was warranty, so that has been taken care of, but we were down for that. We also, as you know, we park in the peculiar police bus, like vehicle barn. And so we had at the end of October, I believe it was, one of the officers accidentally backed into it and damaged the slide and that little belly box door that's right there. So their insurance is covering that. But the initial estimate that the adjuster wrote, once we got it to the shop and they kind of opened it up and looked, there was more than initially found. So we had a little bit of time to get the insurance to approve that additional. And then when they ordered the parts, it's like, hey, it's 6 to 8 weeks. So we took it back. And so it's back on the road now, and we're just waiting
for the
for all of that to come in. But once it does, it should just be a 2 to 3 day job. So hopefully we won't see a long out of service for it when that happens. But just a little update on the bookmobile.
Thank you.
And then the kiosk, we're still making tweaks to it. It's up and running, and as you could also see in Amy's report, we actually have a really awesome patron that's willing to be our little guinea pig, and he runs up there and tries different things from that customer point of view,
Yeah.
and says, "Oh, this looks weird," or can we make this work better? Or if it said this on the screen, it would make more sense so we're working on getting all of that
That's
smoothed
cool.
out. So we do want to have like a ribbon cutting for it, but I really would like to make sure that it's like working, yes, consistently and
Yeah.
optimally before we do that. So hopefully that'll just be a few weeks from now.
Now, who is Amy, and are you the main one that's making sure it's filled? And okay, how's that going for you?
Are okay.
Yeah.
It's just, there's still some issues with how patrons interact with it and holds, but as far as browsing the collection, checking out and making returns, it works just fine.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, and then Pleasant Hill, the punch list still goes on, but it's dwindled significantly. And the things that are left, as you can see in the report, it's just a few things. They're not a huge deal. The one thing that I think is a huge deal is that banging noise that the plumbing is making. And so we're in the process of getting some bids for cleaning out that cast iron plumbing underneath, which we were told by both the architects and the contractor should eliminate that problem. And that would be fantastic. But if it doesn't, then we'll go back to the contractor and see what else needs to be done.
And that's not part of the renovation stuff. That would be that's just an additional for us.
That's additional for us. It's like a building maintenance
Yeah.
type thing. So, because I don't think that piping has been ever descaled. So
Yeah.
it is. So there's that, and then NRC, our favorite water child. So it's still. I've gotten updates the past couple of days. Rod has been so on top of this, though, and he took the initiative, I think, a week or two ago to go and circle every single water spot throughout the building on the ceiling tiles to mark where we already knew that leaks had occurred. And the building manager and the roofer have been very responsive. Every time Rod reaches out, they're out there like that day to see what it is and to do repairs. They're basically at this point chasing like pinholes because as they fix and then we have more moisture come in, we see new circles. But now because Rod has that marked, we can see very easily and quickly where there's new. But luckily nothing is gushing, nothing's coming up from the ground. The materials are dry. The carpet is dry. It's just you can see it in the ceiling tile that there's moisture coming in. So at least we're to that point. But that process is just ongoing. So.
And they're not going to replace any tiles until
there's
no more circles.
Yes.
Added to the.
No more new.
Yes, that's the plan. So, see, I think those were like the major things.
Is that awning? Did that awning come in? I saw it was thought it'd be installed by the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. I talked to Rod yesterday. I was out there and he hadn't heard. He had thought that it would have been ordered by now, but that still hasn't been done yet.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Trustees, I don't know if there's anything to report on the CCIC. There hasn't been a meeting or anything.
No.
Anything on the foundation, Becky?
No.
Any comments by the trustees?
Nope.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to executive if you'd like to read exactly how it's written.
I'll make a motion to return or to recess to executive session, real estate mo, statute 6100210 or 010212. Sorry.
I will second the motion. Roger,
Yes.